Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Driven Wyld. Today we are talking about pro tips for ghost kitchens and small businesses getting started on Doordash and UberEats. So during a recent interview I had with Mico the Entrepreneur, she went over how she got started with Doordash and UberEats. And in that video, she also went over some pro tips for anybody who would be getting started on those platforms as a ghost kitchen or really any small business trying to get off the ground, because we all know these companies can be rather, let's go with less than positive intentions towards you. So with that said, we are going over the pro tips mentioned in the recent interview I had with Mico, some of the best practices you can go with as a ghost kitchen, and everything in between. So before we do that, let's go over a quick disclaimer. The content of this video does not contain is never intended to be legal, business, financial, tax, or health advice of any kind. This video is for entertainment purposes only. It is advised that you conduct your own research and consult qualified professionals before applying anything you find online. I also want to be clear that everything that we're going to be going over in this video is very market dependent, and what applies to me in my market or Mico's market may not apply to you. So with that said, let's get started.
If you're a new restaurant or vendor or merchant and you're thinking about being on DoorDash or Uber Eats, I want you to first look at your POS system, your system where you either use Square, Clover, Toast, Revel, Lightspeed, Venn. These are all POS systems that take credit card, or if you have a register with it, cash. I never took cash. Mine was only credit card only or debit card only. Different reasons for that. Look into your dashboard and see if you have a tab that says third party delivery. If you have that within your dashboard, do that instead. When I started in the garage, there was no need for the register. You order on the app, I do the order, and I get paid. But when I went to the food court, I need somewhere where people can pay because I didn't have a register per se, but that was kind of like my register. I was with Square. When I started looking through my dashboard, I noticed that it had third party delivery. DoorDash and Uber Eats charge 30% per order. If you have the dashboard on your POS cash system or cash register, whatever you want to call it, they have it where you can do free delivery, but you set the amount. Or you can have the customer pay for the delivery, or you, the merchant, will only pay $1.50 for the delivery. If I would have just started at the food court first, I would never been on DoorDash and Uber Eats paying 30%. It's still the same thing.
So for Square, your third-party delivery options can provide drivers, but they go as follows. You could do on-demand delivery, which is basically utilizing DoorDash Drive or Uber Eats, etc. You could use in-house delivery, where you kind of just provide your own drivers. Or you could utilize a service called Cartwheel, which is a white label service that dispatchers can use to deliver orders to someone else. Or with our software that we are providing to those joining the Driven Wyld Discord server and our classes, you can learn how to start your own dispatch company and have the entire process automated through the classes that we are holding there. So if you're not already part of the Driven Wyld Discord server, what are you doing? Join there. And for those who are going to join the class, you can learn how to start your own dispatch company and have access to high quality software that we are developing. More details on that to come. And with that said, back to the video.
And at times I would switch off. Sometimes it would be $1.50 that I would just pay for the customer, or some days or some weeks. It depends on if I had a good week. If I had a good week, I would pay the $1.50. But if I didn't have a good week with orders or whatever, because it was only just me, I didn't have employees. It was only just me. So I'm doing everything. I'm cooking, I'm customer service, I'm this. It's overwhelming. I would tell any merchant, you could still do it. If you're a chain, it's going to be a little challenging. If you're a chain restaurant and you use Toast, you will have to like talk to whoever your director is and say, hey, you know what? I just learned that I don't have to be on Uber or DoorDash and pay 30% per order. I can go ahead and pay $1.50 or put the cost on the customer, or do like a spend $20 and get free delivery. I want to be able to do that. Now, the chain restaurant may say, well, yeah, we can't do that because of whatever, right? We signed an agreement. But if you're someone like me, a solo entrepreneur, a solo business owner, owner, you don't want to pay them 30%, then go through your dashboard and see if they have that tab inside of your POS system.
You mentioned that you would use the third-party thing in your dashboard. Where would the order go to?
So once you set it up, you're on their system. You just don't have a tablet. Like, say, for instance, I still had a website, right? An online web page for people to order. And if they selected delivery, it would drop down to UberEats because that's the only one I had. They would send out a driver.
With the POS system, it would send it to Uber Eats, and that kind of just went with the package as opposed to simply ordering a tablet and signing their agreement with them. It would just be part of the agreement you had with the POS.
With the POS, it's not an agreement per se. I was just making an example, like if you were a chain restaurant and you couldn't leave the tablet and go to your dashboard.
Okay.
Because some chains, they'll probably say, well, no, it's too much work. We already signed the agreement. Because some people don't pay 30%. Some people pay less than that. Some people pay 20, some people pay 16%, some people pay 15%. The group of chain restaurants, that's probably why their commission is lower, because they have like a bulk of people versus it's just me, I'm going to pay 30%.
So franchisees, they typically have a preset agreement with these food delivery apps. They pay a certain percentage on top. So like they could pay 10, 15, 20, whatever, like you're saying. I think it's typically worth even trying to do it if you're a small business person doing it at 30%, or would you automatically go with one of these POS systems that have it in there?
Two different things I'll say. The first thing I would say, if you're just getting started, you don't have any customers, you're in your apartment, you're in your house, you're in a garage using a POS system, but you still feel that enough people don't see you, I would say yes. Do it for maybe 6 months or so to see how many people will order from you there, because you have to remember, people who are coming to the apps, they're not your customers. They're Uber and DoorDash customers, unless you reach out to them some type of way, but you don't have their personal information as a merchant. Sometimes you'll have their phone number, but they're even pulling that away. That's why when you go pick up an order, they always say, can you call the customer? Because they don't have their phone number. It's not because the merchant is being lazy and they don't want to do it. Sometimes they don't have their information. So I think a lot of these companies pulling away. So second thing, if you feel that, hey, you got a great product and you don't want to pay 30% to send you to the poorhouse, because at the end of the day, that's where it's going to send you. Your bottom line is going to be horrible. You're not going to make a profit, because you have to realize 30% of every order that they're taking, and they're paying you on the back end. If you have to do remakes, you're not paying for that. If you have a great product, I would say do the dashboard and pay the $1.50 delivery fee with the POS system. If you feel like, hey, I'm just getting started, yeah, I got a good product, but you still like, I don't know, then like I said, maybe 6 months or so, I would jump on DoorDash or Uber Eats. Just keep in mind, those are not your customers. They're their customers. Kind of hard because you're under the cottage law, maybe, right? You can't have customers coming to buy from you. That's the whole point of the cottage law, because you can't have people come out. You can only be on the apps for the drivers to come pick up your items. You're not like a business where somebody can walk in and like buy your stuff.
Yeah, it's not like a retail location where somebody could just
Right.
go into the front, see that the store says open, cash out there, and walk out just like any other place. And keep in mind, these are neighborhoods that they're entering to get to this place. Some people would not be okay with having a bunch of people rolling through, especially with HOAs being so uppity these days.
What you're saying is go the tablet route to get exposure and then try to do the POS route. If you don't get anything directly to the POS, if you already have the POS, then you want to do that. But 30% is an awful lot of money, because you'd have to mark up your stuff, and then your corporate competition, the franchisees, are going to smoke you because they can price dump you and do the deals that you can't. So it's a very precocious kind of teeter-totter there, whether you should do it or not. I probably would. I've worked with a food truck who did it. He did it quite successfully. He'd self-deploy all of his own orders. He wouldn't use DoorDash drivers. He'd just find his own drivers. I know the phone call thing you were saying, you don't get the customer information anymore. It's just a spoof number. If you have the tablet, you have to have a plan on that tablet to even call that number.
Also, people on the cottage law can either send your items by mail order, do direct to consumer on the app when you're at farmers markets, because you can do that too. So under the cottage law, you can actually take your items to farmers markets. The only issue with that would probably like hurt you is just getting started. It costs like sometimes to be in the right spot at the right farmers market, you're going to spend about $250 because you need a
Yeah.
tent. You need if you don't have a table, you need electricity. What if you have like, foods that require refrigeration? They're not going to supply you with the refrigerator. You have to bring your own. It's overwhelming and too much. That's why I try to tell people, start with something simple. So if you bake your stuff from home and bring it, as long as you have your label, like the company name, and then have the ingredient on the label under the cottage law, you can go and sell at farmers markets or direct by mail on the app or have your own website. I had an online ordering page, which was better for me. I mean, it was just one page. Sometimes when I didn't want the deliveries to happen, they had to come and pick it up. So what I liked about Square, it was so like easy to set it up. I had all my items on there and it added the tip automatically. Now, some people kept it on there. It added automatically, but you can delete it. So it wasn't like, oh, Dad, she charged me a tip. And no, you can remove it. But I had it on there and people, I guess they said, well, look, she's a small business. I never had that issue. I don't know. Maybe it was my personality because when they came and pick it up, just like how you see me like on video, whatever, I had that personality. They love supporting me. I never had an issue with, oh my God, now I got a tip. I ain't never had that issue with my business. I didn't. Even when I turned the little screen around for them to like sign, some people tipped and some people didn't. So I didn't have that issue, and I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah, it's amazing
But
what the difference is between adding a little bit of customer service kindness can be if you have that going for you. Some people take pride in that, and some people stick with the contactless route, and they don't really want to connect with people that way. But if you have the personality, you absolutely should capitalize on it. It's only going to bring you dividends. We're going to start to work on a part 2 for this series. Let me know if there are any questions that you guys want to know about, and we could start to develop a list of frequently asked questions from the viewers. So that way we could best help you make the most amount of money in the least amount of time and in the safest possible way. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time. Oh.